practice.
So we're starting out with a laugh. Welcome this afternoon to Hockey Talks. I am super impressed that you were able and willing, and we were able to get you in here as quick as we could. Mr. Helmut Tweer, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Did I get it right?
Yep.
I got the pronunciation right. Yes.
Something right
Yeah.
tonight.
Anyways, we're stoked to have this group of guys together to do this conversation today. And frankly, we'll go around and make sure everybody else gets themselves introduced. Mike Watson, hi. I tried to reduce, too, we're having some technical work. I tried to reduce the glare off of my head, right? Just slightly, so hopefully those of you who are watching can let us know, did we fix some of the lighting issues? Anyways, thank you for joining us.
He didn't turtle wax it today, so
Nope. Yep.
you won. Danny Thomas, Austin Ferriola.
Yeah. And give us the pronunciation again.
Helmut Tweer.
Ooh! I screwed up the last name pretty badly.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm not worried about
Thanks for joining us, my friend.
My absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So, I guess the first question for you is how does a guy with an interesting name like that end up reffing a bunch of, goofballs like us? What's your story? Yeah.
So way back when.
Let's go all the way back to
when I was young and not innocent but young. So I was a foreign exchange student at Lee Summit High School in 86, 87, that school year. So when I was 17, kind of fell in love with the area. Went back home, did my military service because in Germany you get drafted. I'm actually originally from Germany.
Okay, that was the story we were looking for. Yeah.
And so that's where the name comes from.
Yeah.
It's a very German name. Came back in 93, started going to college here in 94. Then got married, had kids, the usual fun stuff, and basically ended up with hockey in the meantime, like between 93 and 94, all I was doing was skating at the only rink at the time, which was King Louis, up on 88th and Metcalf in Overland Park.
Gotcha.
Got to know all the hockey players, ended up running the league with them and doing all the stats for them with the management there. And then from there, just kind of took off. I started out as an off-ice official, running the clocks and stuff, then as an official on the ice. Then I started playing, and then I thought maybe I should give back a little bit more. And after I had my kids and had a little bit more time to ref, I started reffing.
Okay.
So
right on. Yeah. So it starts for you hockey. What was the bug that drew you to hockey?
Actually, so I started out as a skating person. So my hometown rink didn't have hockey.
Okay.
All we had was skating.
Okay.
But I did love watching sports. Of course, I grew up literally a stone throw from the hometown soccer stadium.
Okay.
And we're in the Bundesliga, so first German league, soccer league. So, everything is going on up there. And so there's a sports complex, basically. You have the stadium there. You have an arena there for basketball. My hometown also used to have one of the top, if not still has, one of the top men's basketball teams in Germany.
Gotcha.
Also in Europe for a while. Then we also have a very high-level handball women's team.
Gotcha. Danny's going to have all kinds of jokes about that later.
We'll save those for later.
I got plenty of jokes. And then ended up with them building a rink when I was about 10. They started, and when I was 12, it was there, and I started skating. But again, no hockey, so
Okay.
I skated and skated and skated until I got to the U.S. And then I've always watched the NHL and the German league
Right.
a little bit,
Yep.
and was always impressed by, considering when I grew up with the Red Wings and the Russian line,
Okay.
because that was the first time
Yeah, me too.
U.S. hockey was introduced to Russian hockey as a combination,
Yep.
and they did an awesome job of taking that skill and speed
Yep.
with the American and North American hardness of the sport
Yep.
and their speed.
Yep.
So you had a combination that was, I think they did an awesome job with it, and the number of Stanley Cups during that period really
Proves
show.
it. Yeah, it does.
So, and then so when I came here,
So
Hockey
what
was
time
right
frame is that? The Russians are
Oh, that's
mid-90s?
No, the Russians, that's like late 80s.
Okay, that's when it started.
Late 80s,
Okay, yeah.
yes.
So Russians are playing U.S., right? But that Red Wing dynasty team was early 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's
I
when
had to
they
wrap
really-
my head around it. I'm getting old.
No, you're good. Same here.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, so early 90s, and that's kind of like got me really going with hockey. And then, of
Okay.
course, I was here right after that started, so
Yeah.
there was a lot of hockey going on in Kansas City, actually, considering that it was only one rink. It was
Right.
always hockey, and got involved there. And ever since then, I've been in hockey.
Okay, cool. So when did you decide, okay, I'm interested in hockey, I'm going to help out with hockey, but I'm actually going to play?
Actually, that wasn't actually me wanting to play. That was actually me being told I needed to play.
Okay.
So, Floyd Johnson was the assistant manager at the King Louis ice rink,
Mhm.
and he said, "You just got to go play." And so Tyler Green was also there. He was an alternate also for the Blades,
Okay.
and he also pushed a little bit. And a few of the other guys that I knew every hockey player in town at that point,
Right.
simply because they were always playing there, and I was running the stats, and so
Yep.
so I got on the ice and I played, and ever since then I've been playing too. So.
Okay. So
I don't play right now, though. I have to say that.
how long have you not been playing?
I stopped playing after the second season of the Yetis, which is a set of teams that I helped build. Actually, I built from the ground up at Casey Ice,
Okay.
and then I gave the captainship up to people, and I was kind of just in the background. After the second season, I kind of dropped even further back, and now they're their own thing.
They're doing their thing.
Yeah, and the teams are still there, so at least I can say, it worked out okay.
Right? Yeah. Proud
But
achievement. Yep.
there was a lot of chatter that as an on ice official, I shouldn't be reffing in that same league as my team that I created and played for. And I think everybody who played on that team during that time will tell you I was harder on them than I was on
Right.
anyone else. But the chatter was still there, and so I decided it's not worth listening to.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I'm just gonna play only on a travel team, and that's gonna be it.
Gotcha.
Because
Well, that's a really cool point, because I see some of those things. Obviously, you can imagine what Kevin Schulmeister might deal with now, right?
Uh-huh.
Playing and running the league and all that
Right.
stuff. You just triggered a memory for me too, because at some point when I was running the league in Omaha, I had to not play, and there really wasn't anywhere else to play, so I literally stopped playing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I can't really play because everybody says I got some favoritism for something or another, right? The world is full of
Yeah.
skeptics.
Now you're sure it wasn't because the ice was too soft or anything?
No, I did not hurt my hip. That I was only like 30.
I
My
don't
hip
mean
was
it.
still good.
That's how I injured my hip playing hockey.
no, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
my hip was still good.
It was 30, so it was 3 years ago.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. But no, so I totally understand that. Is that why today you just ref and don't play?
Pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha,
I
okay.
only play on a 45 and older travel team.
Okay.
We have a team captain with interestingly enough, we're named the Opossums, which is actually also a team at Casey Ice.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
we are not related to the Opossums in a way where we pull players from there or anything like that.
Gotcha.
We're really independent. And Chet Newman is actually the team captain. I'm an assistant captain on the team. I was voted to that, which I thought was pretty cool. And we just go travel to wherever there's a nice tournament for older guys like us, where people just want to play. You don't have to worry about hits. You don't have to worry about people doing stupid things, wanting to get into a fight. You know. None of
Oh, I
that.
can't wait
Like,
to pick your brain.
like, people just wanna-
You've seen it all.
People just want to play.
Yeah.
Give you a great example. We were invited up to Canada to Saint-Donat, which is just north of Montreal,
Okay.
about an hour and a half drive, if that.
Okay.
Beautiful area, by the way. If you ever get to go up there, go there.
Go there.
Go there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's beautiful. Huge lake. It's a winter wonderland if you go up there. Snow, white, beautiful trees. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. The people are awesome and nice. I don't understand a word of their French, but that's because I don't speak French.
Right.
But people
Two languages is enough, right?
Well, I
How
also,
many you speak?
Well, I only speak officially English and German, with German being my native language.
Yep.
My English is okay, but I also know a little bit of Dutch, Danish.
Oh,
You know, so.
Dutch turn. What is that? Gold
member.
member.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was going to go there.
Yeah, you knew it was. Yeah. We're as sophomoric as they get. Yeah.
And so we had guys up there, and they were just kicking our butts. I mean, there was no question about it.
Yeah.
But we had such a great time.
Yeah.
Nobody was worried about anything. I ended up shooting the puck a little high, right past the guy's head, and I was more worried about him
Sure.
than I was worried about where the puck went. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's where hockey at my age should be.
Yeah.
You know, when you shouldn't be playing hyper competitively anymore. You should just be out there, have some fun. Yeah, you want to win the game, but just be out there, have fun. The winning is the bonus. It's not
Yep.
the final goal. The final goal is have a good time, be able to have a beer with the guys afterwards.
That's I'm glad you brought that up because at 55 I'm frustrated. More often frustrated than I am like pleased with going and playing because I always see something I'm like, man, that just really shouldn't be happening.
And then we have to hear about it for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. I can get very vocal as I'm known for, but yeah. And to your point, so Mike Thomas is starting a 50+ league at KC Ice.
He already has one. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like really trying to build this thing right now, and I'm thank you, Mike. I appreciate all your efforts because I see that as a place for perhaps me to be able to go play and not be so frustrated, right? So I'm looking forward to that thing
Yeah,
happening.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Though I have to say, a lot of those guys are still relatively competitive.
Yep.
But I think you'll find that a little bit more interesting because people are usually at that age group don't do stupid things.
Yeah.
They just don't. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
so-
but I mean, you get a 25-year-old in a C League or D League game.
Yep.
They want to compete, which is fine. Really, it's fine. I understand that they want to compete. They want to be fast.
Yep.
They want to be out there, and oftentimes their skill level is not where their mind
Right.
is going.
Body can't do what the mind can. Yep.
So the mind is already at the puck,
Yeah.
and the body is now putting the shoulder down because he's running late.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you have the check that in an older league would not have happened
Yeah.
simply because he would have dropped back and would have said, "I can't make that."
Yep.
So I'm just gonna, like,
That's a good point. Yep. Yep.
and it's not, and I'm not saying that guy is doing something bad. It's just it's an experience thing. And when you're new to hockey, or when you haven't, or when you're very competitive, you have a different mindset than what you have when you're a little older and you're more set back and you're just kind of relaxed.
Yeah, and I might even probably oversimplify that to say my testosterone is not pumping like it was when I was 30, right?
It's a Cialis.
Yeah, whatever. Make all the jokes you want, but I'm not. I'm just I'm just now. So again, I don't want to get too deep into my whole world, but I see this and I get frustrated, and then I go, I'm a bit altruistic, right? So I look at it and I go, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like I could play more aggressively if I wanted to, but I don't want to, right?
Exactly.
So I want to ask you, how many levels do you ref in? Are you doing? It doesn't matter, kids,
Anything.
adults. It doesn't
Anything.
matter. Just you've seen
anything.
it all. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
I've refed anything from the littlest kids, which are U8, the little squirts,
Yep.
or actually the little mites.
Gotcha.
They're even younger than the squirts. Squirt is U8, mites is anything below that. I think U6 or whatever. And they're a lot of fun to ref, and I would do those games any day.
Yeah.
And I've done A-League, I've done Open League, I've done high school. I'm wearing it very proudly actually today. I was actually at the Nationals in Omaha, Nebraska.
Go Omaha!
And actually they won in their division. Omaha won,
Yep.
won in Division II high school.
Yeah.
I watched the game, it was a good game. I actually got to ref them as well. And so I've seen all the different levels.
Gotcha.
There's not a level I don't enjoy reffing.
Yep.
It's just very different attitudes on the ice
Yep.
and different attitudes on the bench.
So let me ask this question. We're going to go eliminate it just to adults, right? This is kind of our world. But so who's the dirtiest bunch of bastards in the adults? What league seems to be the one that is the chippiest? D, C, B, A.
No, honestly, there are some chippy games, but I don't think that's league more than certain players within teams having played against each other so much that they know exactly how to get under each other's skin.
Yeah, oh, good point. Yeah.
And that's when things happen. And so a player gets a little frustrated because they're not winning the way, or he's having a bad day, or whatever the reason, and then they know they can get under the skin of a couple of other players on the other team, so they're gonna take their frustration to that level, and then things happen.
Been there. Both sides of it, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
See that halo right there?
Yeah.
That's not there.
Hold on, let me see if I can get the halo in. Yeah.
So I don't think it's a league per se that is more dirty than another.
Gotcha.
I really can't say that.
How about discrepancy in talent? Do you see that in any of
Yes.
the leagues where you're like,
Yes.
holy cow, there's a huge discrepancy within this group of people?
Yes, and
Who
it's
might that
usually
be?
in the lower leagues.
Okay, yeah.
There are a lot of players that should move up because they don't slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
So, give you an example. I used to play D League.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be playing D League, but I used to play D League. I should be playing C, low B maybe.
Right.
I'm way too
Yep.
fat and slow, so. But so
I just
in the
reduced you from A. Everything else is still open. Yeah.
I don't play A though.
Yeah.
Way too high for me.
Yeah.
Way too fast. But the intensity of those levels is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
So I prefer D League.
Yep.
I can skate it up and down the ice. It's not a problem, and I've done it multiple times
Yep.
when I was in the D League. But I would not shoot on net to score, because that's at that point, if I'm the one going all the way from the end zone playing defense from my end zone from the red line all the way around, and I'm running the track twice,
Yep.
I probably shouldn't be shooting on net to score. So I shoot a hard shot, so there's so the goalie can actually, the goalie really doesn't have to do much, just put the pads in the way or catch it.
Yep.
And usually the pads are already in the way, and
Yep.
if it goes in, that's not my fault. Like, seriously, didn't plan on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Learn
No.
a goalie.
Yeah, no, even if I'm down by 3 goals, I'm not shooting to score.
Right.
Because at that point, that's not what I should be doing. So I'm always looking for the pass, or I'm looking for a rebound, so somebody else who's coming in can try to clean it up and maybe get it in.
Yep.
Right. And
There's only a few of us that are doing that, my friend.
right.
That's self-imposed. Yeah, it's weird,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised. That's one of the things I think that
Yeah.
pisses me off more is like, I'll see these guys who are better than me playing D and not necessarily holding back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I'm holding back because I'm trying to help these guys get better,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Give you an example that I think is great. So on the Deeks, you have a lady playing who's a little weaker, and her husband is playing defense, who is quite a bit better. I
Yeah.
mean, he's definitely a C, if not B level player.
Yep.
No question about
Yep.
it. If a beginner player comes up into the zone with a puck, he will back off.
Yep.
He will give that player space.
That's
And I think that is what should be happening.
Yeah.
The intensity that is required when there's a better player coming in is immediately there.
Yeah.
But when a weaker player comes in, the understanding of this is also a league to build
Yeah.
is also there.
Yeah.
And that's what we need from better players to understand, yeah, you're losing the game. I know you want that T-shirt at the end of the season. But
That's what we play for. A
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Right. Yeah.
and if you're in the D League, I don't know if they still have the old D League keg, the cup.
I think it's still around. I've seen pictures of the Deeks with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
that, by the way, was a fusion concoction.
Was it?
Yeah, the fusion who now plays in the C.
Yep.
We used to have a D League fusion. We actually were one of the first original teams
Okay.
to build the D League.
Clemmer was around then, I
Yeah.
assume?
Oh yeah, Clemmer
Okay.
was one of the builders.
Yeah.
Larry and Bob and I were fusion, and Maz and the Apes. So
Yep.
we started out basically with that. The
Wow.
original 3.
That's cool. So I it's funny because I just thought about it. You guys have both played on the Bobs. Cody's playing for them this year. I've continued to fill in year after year. But I think it was like 2 years ago. We had a really bad game. I think we were playing like the Zebras or something, and it got super chippy. and I was, literally laying at home at night thinking to myself, what are we doing? Like, what is wrong with us as human beings that we're allowing hockey to just, create these animals out of us? But we started a tradition that Dave Guffey has kept going, and that is you get a T-shirt at the beginning of the year when you join the Bobs because you already got your prize. Now we can just relax and play the season. We started that tradition
I like
a
that.
couple
That's
years
actually
ago.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
No, yeah, it's all about the end.
Yeah.
Get on the ice, have fun,
Yeah.
play hard, but play with the other people in mind.
Yeah.
You know?
So think about this, because this is probably one of the things that makes me crazy at times. And so in Omaha, in the adult league that we built over years, we decided that we would implement what we called a ringer rule. And the ringer rule was if you played D League, but you're really a C player, right? And you weren't, I think his name is Brian and Charisse from the Deeks are the people you were talking about. And you weren't as astute as Brian to the game, and where you would back off and let somebody, we would just put this rule on you. We'd say, here it is. You can only play defense. You can only pass. If you score a goal, it's disallowed at the moment it goes in. You hate it?
I have trouble with those rule adjustments. We had a similar rule for a while here, where it was if you were a what they called a player coach, a PC.
Yeah. I think Mike Jacoby told me one time he did that.
Then you could only score in the first and second period. You couldn't score in the third.
Gotcha.
That would be automatically disallowed.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe you were only allowed 2 goals per game or something. It's not the way it should be, because you're taking away the player's own responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not talking about little kids. We're
Yeah.
talking about adults.
Amen.
Let adults be adults.
Yeah.
And let adults, I think it's the team's responsibility to work with their team members.
Gotcha.
So if I'm down by 1 goal, I'm not going to have the best player run down and score.
That's what I hate.
And
I see
if
that.
I'm down by 4
Not all
goals,
the time, but I see that occasionally. Yeah.
If I'm
I
down
hate
by
that.
4 goals, hey, you know what? You want to
Yeah.
score a few, go score a few.
Yeah.
But don't make it the game difference.
Mm.
That's the important
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Don't let the best players on your team be the game difference in a low-level league. Now, in the A-League, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, A-Leagues and open leagues are pretty much, you decide to be there,
Yeah.
you're playing at that high level, you play at that high level. That's going to be high intensity.
Yeah.
D-League is not high intensity. D-League is true beer league. Go out, shoot the puck around, get some nice passes in, maybe score a couple of goals,
Yeah.
get in the parking lot afterwards. If you bumped into somebody and got a penalty, go to the box, go back out, skate by that person, say, dude, I owe you beer. And then after the game, have a beer outside. I mean, great example last night. The Zebras and I decided to reinvigorate an old tradition that actually came from Line Creek. And that is, at Line Creek, we used to have what's called the Creekside Grill.
Okay. Yep.
The Creekside Grill basically meant that after the games on Saturdays and Sundays,
Yep.
the parking lot was set up with chairs and
Yep.
there was a certain area and there were like multiple grills running.
Yep.
Didn't matter as long as the weather, as long as it wasn't raining like totally crazy.
Yep.
People were out there having fun and just having a few brews. And
What's the gal's name? Who's the captain then? Because they invited
Carrie.
us last.
Carrie.
She invited us last
Yeah.
week. She was like, "Hey, we're going to do this grill thing,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Is this really happening?"
Yeah.
Thank you. Like,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
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 We
Yes.
wanted. It
Yes.
didn't happen because of the carnival.
Right,
But
right.
I was like,
Well,
yes, we need to do more of this.
it was a combination of Carnival and Mavs game.
Yeah.
Both was too much.
Yeah.
That would have been a crazy parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad we didn't do it that weekend. I think there was some action going on at the carnival that wasn't kosher. So I'm glad we did it last night. But it was good. The other teams were invited in. And of course the staff is invited from the rink
Yep.
to come have a hot dog or a burger or whatever is on the grill. If we have to throw something on the grill, we throw it on the grill. You can always bring your own.
Yeah.
Bring your own beer kind of thing. And if you bring some extra beer, be free to share it.
Yeah.
And just have your captain talk to the captains of the other teams.
Love it.
Organize it.
Yep. Love it.
It's an easy thing to do, especially for the first set. So the first two team captains, if they organize it, and let the other two team captains who are playing afterwards know, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
Why don't you come join us? Just bring whatever you guys want to eat. You know, we're probably going to have some extra hot dogs, some extra burgers, whatever. You know, but just bring something of your own if you want to.
Yep.
We'll have the grill ready to go. Perfect way to end a nice night of hockey. And for a lot
And
of players,
perhaps diffuse some bullshit that might happen during the game.
well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You are changing attitudes.
Yeah.
Because the attitude now is not, I just gotta win. The attitude is, oh, I'm gonna have a beer afterwards
Yeah. With
with
that
some
guy
other
from
guys.
the other team.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the guy that I'm gonna sit out in the parking lot with. Am I gonna run this guy over right now so he
Right.
can't sit with me? No.
Yeah.
You know. So I think it changes attitudes. That doesn't necessarily take away competitiveness. So at Line Creek, so in the C League, it was still very, very competitive, and there were some hard, core action going on. There was some hardcore action going on the ice where people would literally check each other into the boards hard because they were ticked at them. But you know what? You got out on the grill later and just chatted and said, "Oh man, that was a hard hit. That was." And then you go, yeah, dude, sorry, I was frustrated, my bad, and it was good.
Yep.
Just be honest with yourself, be honest with the other guy, or say, dude, you just frustrated the crap out of me, I was just done with you, and then the other guy's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been slashing you so much in the back of the leg, or whatever, just, it builds a trust level outside of the ice, which then transcends onto the ice,
Yep.
and that's always good.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to compliment you on. Do we have any questions coming in?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Okay, let's take those before we move on. But I'll do my compliment because I'm not going to withhold a compliment when we get online questions. But the thing I love about you is you'll always take that extra time when somebody's bitching and pissed off to be like, I want to explain it. If you'll listen, I will explain
Yes.
exactly my thinking and exactly what you did or they did and how this whole scenario unraveled. And a lot of the refs won't. They're like,
Oh yeah.
piss off. I made the call. You don't like it? Go cry.
I might not agree with you, but
Yeah.
you're taking the time to explain it, and I'm like, okay,
Yep.
you're
Or
right.
just yell at us, say, "Hey, my mother would have caught that one."
That's exactly.
Oh yeah. Like when I wave off at offsides, yeah. By the way, my mom doesn't know how to ice skate.
Yeah. Clearly.
She's 80 years old this year, so.
All right. So what do we have for questions?
So the first one is asking, will you be repping the games tonight?
There's one game tonight, and yes, I will be reffing it if it's at Independence.
8:30.
Is it 8:30? I got it at 6 something, I think.
Yeah, we have our game at 8:30.
You guys are at 8:30. Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on. Are you
Hold
guys
on.
playing the Apes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Checking the schedule right now.
I was gonna say check your schedule because I went at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7. It was moved up.
Woo-woo.
Oh, that's not good then.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
says here.
You on?
I'll make a phone call after
Look at
this.
Sports Engine.
I will.
Hey, Dylan. Well, he's not watching. I mean, who am I yelling at?
And then
Dylan.
The second question was, where did your nickname Hippo come from?
Ah. So here, hold on. Let me set this up, because I've told you already, and I did the same thing when Crispy, who I'm now willing to call him that, was here. I don't like it when somebody has a nickname that I'm not sure where it came from and it's not complimentary.
Right.
And you and I had that discussion, and you're like, I'm cool with it. It's easier than trying to get them to.
Yeah.
But yeah, still cannot bring myself to call you Hippo. But go ahead, please.
Okay, so we're going way back when I was little. We're talking like 5th grade. I was always a little bit on the rounder side.
Yes.
So we were. I was also always a pretty good swimmer, but don't let me do the 100-meter dash. Sorry, if you expect that to happen within 15 seconds, good luck. No,
Yeah.
long distance, no problem. I'm one of those like Energizer Bunny things. I just keep running. So in school, way back when, somebody in class decided to call me a hippo. And at that point, it wasn't necessarily meant as a nice thing, but it turned into a nice thing when one of the girls in the class then said, "Well, he's always happy, so he's a happy hippo." So I stuck with the Hippo. I thought, okay, you know what? I stick with that.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, nobody in my class called me Hippo after that for whatever reason. It kind of dissipated. But it came back when I started ice skating a lot, especially in other cities. So I would travel throughout Germany. We'd go to the Netherlands. We'd go to pretty much wherever I was, I would skate. I mean, I was ice skating in London.
Wow.
You know, if there's a rink, I'll find it. I'll find some skates. I'll get on the ice.
That is cool.
So one of my things, you know, that's why I go with my skates are going everywhere with me. If there's a rink, I want to say I was in that city on one of the ice rinks.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. Yep. Yep.
And so that kind of stuck with, you know. And then when I came here, so many people just called me Helmut, and I'm like, you know, I'm already dealing with hockey. I really don't want to be called a Helmet. So just call me Hippo, guys. It's so much easier. And my email address actually is happyhippo@aol.com.
All right,
that
good
has
for
been
you.
my email
I
address.
feel I'm starting to feel like it's okay. Like,
It is totally okay.
Yeah, because for the longest time I'm like, you
Yeah.
guys are dicks.
No.
Why would you call that
I
man
mean,
Hippo?
yes, but
Like, and then I'd be like pissed. I'd be like pissed at my own teammates. Like, what's your deal, dude? You
Yeah,
know?
no.
Like, no, like it really goes by that. I'm like, I'm not believing it till he tells me that.
No,
Yeah.
totally fine. That is kind of the nickname. There's, I don't think, anyone in the hockey community who doesn't know that name. So
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
at this point, I think there's not even a parent in this hockey community that doesn't know
Gotcha.
that.
Well, when I was doing the advertisement from this, I was still like, I'm not doing it. I'm not until I have 100% approval from you. There's
You do,
no way
you
I'm
do.
putting Hippo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So
that.
what would you say is the hardest league to ref? Like as far as them bitching back at you?
Who's griping the most? Ooh,
Yeah.
Good question. Yep.
The number of gripes, I think, comes mostly from the lower levels, like the C level, D level. That's the number. And I'm going to say that most of that is due to not understanding some of the rules.
Right.
So that's why I don't get too mad about it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody tells me, well, why was that an offsides? It came from him. Well, yeah, but it was not actually played by him. It bounced off of him as the other guys were shooting it out, and you were still in the zone, so it's an offsides. That's what the rule is. Well, rules are different between the NHL, the ECHL, and USA Hockey, and we'll play USA Hockey.
Yep.
So a lot of people take the NHL rules or the ECHL rules because that's what they see, that's what they watch, and they think that's what we're playing, except for the checking part. Well, we're not.
Yeah.
We really are not, and it makes a big difference. When it comes to the intensity, I think the higher the level, the more intense the the chirping against the refs is.
Gotcha. Are they chirping one another or just you guys?
Oh no, they chirp us too.
Okay.
They chirp us too.
It's
So
just chirp, chirp, chirp.
it's just the
Good at that.
intensity is, I think, a little higher, but that also comes with the intensity of the game.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing a lot faster, a lot more intensity in there. That doesn't mean D League or C League doesn't have an intensity for those players.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is really a different level. You'll find
Yeah.
if you watch them, you'll see it.
So, a very specific question this year, and it's just brand new to summer, right? Is the low rec and the high rec, right? And so I'm kidding, somewhat bitching a little bit with my wife, and I'm like, we ought to just forget about the leagues at this point, right? And just have it open, because I see really super skilled players. I see, you know, and some teams don't have the guys like you who are brand new, who've only been at it for under a year or whatever. And I'm like, why would you go in low rec and not have a guy, you know, who's only been doing it for a short period of time? Are you seeing that same discrepancy when you ref them?
There's a lot of discrepancy
It's-
when you ref the
It's
games between
huge
players.
levels, yeah.
Yes. And some of it is due to scheduling, and that is not the fault of the rink scheduling.
Yeah.
Talking about people having to work certain days, certain hours, and then not being able to play on other days. So some C-level players may be stuck with D simply because of the days where the games are.
Yep.
And vice versa, so there are some players that I've seen at the C level who usually play D, but just because they can't play D right now because of the schedule, they're playing C.
I tried playing B because at one point they were like, we really don't want you in D, so I'm like, well, I can't play C, so I'll try B. And then I was like, please let me back in D.
Yeah.
I'll be at best. I'll
Yeah.
never take another shot. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a great example.
Yeah.
It really is. And that also builds a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
Because if you're a lower player in a higher league, you're frustrated because you can't keep up.
Yeah.
If you're a higher level in a lower league, you're frustrated because nobody keeps up with you on your team.
Yeah.
So you want more of those players. So what happens is you end up with more, and the other teams get frustrated because they're seeing this great player out there
Yep.
who is not really holding back like he should.
Yep.
So now they're going to build up. So they're going to
Yep.
hire a higher level player.
That's exactly it.
And then you basically end up with suddenly the D League is as good as the C League or even as the B League.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's kind of like it's kind of like the this whole I got to keep up with the neighbors kind of thing.
Yeah. It
And
really is.
that gets me back to where we were earlier, kind of like a full circle. Just be out there to have fun. Don't and don't try to win every game just to win it.
Yeah.
Play to play. Make sure that the players on your team get every opportunity to be as good as they can be.
Yeah.
Not be, if you're the best player on your team, then your job should be to make the others better, not to make yourself look good with 5 goals.
Yes. Amen, brother. I don't know how we teach that though, right?
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
it's-
Carrie Bergman is her name, right? The
Yeah.
captain. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations, you are captain of the year in my book because her idea of bringing this idea over from Line Creek and getting people together in the parking lot is the best culture piece that I've heard anybody do in the couple. I've only been back playing after 20 years off for 2 years.
Yep.
In the 2 years that I've been here, that's the best move anybody's ever made to fix the culture, which is what's broken.
Yeah.
And that is these guys who want to play hardo
And you know what?
in the D League.
You know what? That was actually the conversation we had in the parking
Yeah.
lot 3 weeks ago. Carrie, Jeff, who also is on our team, who also works at Line Creek, so he knows
Aha.
the Creekside
Yeah,
Grill.
yeah.
So does Carrie, because she used to play up there as well, and so did I.
Yep.
So we were actually talking about it. We said, we should just do this.
Yes.
And so,
Every week, week after week, all the captains
Yeah.
get your crap together
Yeah. So-
and meet the other team and become
Yeah.
friends with them.
exactly, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the
Yeah.
epitome of beer league hockey.
Yes. I don't want to see your championship photos. I,
mean,
want to see your burger
it's
or your hot dog.
Yeah, there you go. and as a referee, I thought it's kind of weird that I'm involved in this, but at the same time, I thought maybe that's the
No,
best step
It's perfect. Yes.
because I am
Yeah.
the person who has really no gain from one of the teams winning or
Right.
losing.
Right. Yep.
To be honest, I really could care less who wins or loses.
Right.
a game. I really don't care. I know sometimes people think I might. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah.
The only team that always wins is the black and white striped team.
Yeah.
There's not a game we lose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Plain
call.
and simple. So I really don't care who wins. I care that people have fun as much as I possibly can. I will try to let people play, and there are some players who will tell you that I've skated by them and told them, "Hey, dude, watch what you're doing there,"
Yeah, yeah.
or I'm going to have to call this.
Yep.
Hold back a little bit more, do less than, so I don't have to put them in the box.
Yeah.
And
I'll attest to that. So I come back from not playing for years. Well, I still think that hockey's played like it was in the 90s. The rubbing and the bumping and the grinding
Yeah.
was all okay. And he's like, no, I don't know. He like, that does not fly anymore. And I'm like, okay, how about this? Nope, that doesn't. And so for the first 6 games, I swear you must have reffed every one of them. Like, I have no idea how to play in this damn league. I have no idea what I'm doing. You're like, do this, don't do that, chill out here. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good. It was
Yeah.
great coaching on your
But you know
part.
what?
Yeah.
You did a great job listening too,
Well,
and that makes also a difference. There's a lot of times where people don't listen; they just think, I don't care what the ref says.
yeah.
Well, if the ref tells you something, it usually means you're already with one foot in the penalty box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So the ref is giving you you an opportunity, if he talks to you before he throws you in the box,
Yeah.
he's giving you an opportunity to make the change
Yeah, be
on your
aware.
own.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
does that always work? No. There's some things where I have to make the call immediately. If it's an obvious foul, or if it's something that changes possession, or if it's a very dangerous play, I have to make a call.
Yeah.
But so, for example, one of the players on the Zebras last week went headfirst into another player. He didn't do it fast, and there was no maliciousness. I could tell it wasn't like because he wanted to go ahead first. He was just so tired. He literally just went down a little bit and ended up going head first into the player. Not hard, not fast, no penalty given. I took the player aside and I said, dude, please make sure you don't go head first. That by rule can be called a headbutt. I don't want to have to call that. If you look up the penalty, and I encourage you to do that because then you learn. It's not a good penalty to get. It's actually one of the worst penalties to get. It goes right along with spearing and butt ending.
Yep.
And so I said, just be careful. Not a reason to give him a penalty.
Yep.
Nothing happened. It was, whistle was blown right there anyway. So it wasn't, there was nothing dangerous at that point. There was not enough speed behind it,
Right.
just to make sure there's an understanding.
Yeah. Well, I so appreciate that. I hope everybody else
Oh, yeah.
does. Yeah. And I'm sure there are those who will.
Oh.
You could tell them whatever, and they're just gonna gripe. Yeah.
Which is part of the game.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go overboard, I don't hear the F-bomb thrown at me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
How about just the F-bomb in general? Because
depends on the age level.
If it's an 8-year-old.
So here's the thing. If
I
it's
might do that if I just missed the puck. Yeah.
Exactly. Adult league. If you're just frustrated at something that happens in the game, fine. If you're frustrated at me or at my colleague, that's when I'm starting to put on the brakes a little bit.
I totally get that.
Respect
Yeah.
is important for
Yeah.
both sides.
Yeah.
You don't hear me effing at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please don't F at me, right?
Yeah.
If it's a kid's game, and parents can attest to that,
Right.
and so can coaches, there's a door, and I will point to it.
Yep.
And I will send you off, whether you're a spectator or a coach, I will send you off. That has nothing to do with kids hockey. There's no room for it. I expect parents and coaches to be supportive of their players, but not be aggressive towards the other team in any way, shape, or form,
Yep.
nor towards the officials.
Yep.
Whether it is an on-ice official or an off-ice official, I expect those adults during a kid's game to be exactly what they are, adults. And I am very strict, very strict. Probably one of the strictest here in Kansas City, and there have been occasions where there have been pictures taken where I've actually thrown adults out of the scorekeeper's box.
Wow.
I don't do well
Yeah.
with that, especially if I have a young ref with me, his first
Right.
year,
Yep.
teenage ref,
And then you got some parent in there.
and then
telling
I got
everybody how it
parents
should be.
screaming at him because he missed an offside.
That's why I quit coaching. You just exactly outlined when he was young. I was like, I can't coach anymore because I'm gonna end up pounding somebody. They've just talked one too many shit on me, or the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By
The
the
whole
way,
thing was just very volatile.
you just saved the hockey game today because no one from the Komrades or the Great Babes knew the time changed.
Oh baby.
The rink changed it and didn't tell Kevin.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
to save everybody, I would have stayed for the late game too.
Yeah.
So,
So here we are live on Facebook. I hope there are some people watching, but the Grape Apes Komrades game is not at 8:30. It is officially at 6.
It is at 6 o'clock is puck drop.
Okay,
Yes.
6 o'clock puck drop. Now, that being said, I'm sure there will be a little bit of grace if we're a little bit late. We're rounding the corner to what?
Almost.
Eh, yeah, 4:45. So,
So-
we're going to wrap up here so these guys can go get their gear.
I got my gear up
And
here.
I was going to say, you're good to go, right? But I got to ask this question before we close out, and that is, what's the funniest story you can think of? So, Jimmy Peterson told us about a guy who went in the penalty box after another guy because the guy said he was going to kick his butt or whatever. And we've heard of people throwing beer on one another and all kinds of crazy stories. But what's that story that you're like, I was kind of like, wow, I can't believe that just happened at a hockey game?
As a referee or as a player?
Either. We don't care. Hockey's hockey to us.
So there was I used to be on the Grape Apes.
Yep.
I was playing against the Grape Apes in a game, and one of the players of the Grape Apes is Father Joseph, who's
Yes.
a Catholic priest.
Yep.
I am a Catholic. I have to say that that's part of the whole. Otherwise, this is not going to be
It's
quite
part of the setup. We get it. Yeah.
I'm in front of the net. He's in front of the net, and I'm playing defense. He's offense, and I'm shoving him around legally, as I might add, but very annoying to him.
Yeah.
And if you know his physique and you know my physique, he's quite a bit smaller than I am, and he turns around and he drops gloves. So I'm just skating backwards, and I'm just like,
I'm not fighting a priest.
I'm a Catholic. I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This could be. I'm going straight to hell. Like a who's
Just
shot with
confession
lightning,
on
and I'm
that
out of here.
Exactly.
Oh, that is a good
So-
one. Yeah.
So we did not fight. He got a penalty. I think he got a 2-minute penalty for it, and that was enough. The refs kind of looked at me. Are you okay with that? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. Because there was no fight. I mean, he never even threw a punch. You know, he just dropped. Legally, once you drop the gloves, it's a fight. But we didn't go overboard on that. I wasn't going to, and I know my colleagues who were reffing the game were not going to either. After, especially, since we're all pretty much on the same
I'm
page.
down with that, but.
All right. I can hear you guys back there.
Quit making out, you two.
Yeah.
Another one maybe not necessarily as funny, but definitely a very interesting one. I had a game again where I was officiating with one of my teenage colleagues, and a coach. One of his a coach had a game that we officiated. We officiated 3 games in a row. It was at KC Ice. So, and they were 2 different levels. So we had a U14, U12, U14.
Okay.
So checking, no checking, checking.
Oh.
And in the first game, he was the coach. In the second game, in the first game, one of his kids was playing. In the second game, he was the coach. Well, his kid was ejected in the first game with a 5 in a game, and I believe it was actually a charging and boarding call. So it was either one of the two would have totally been enough. He basically did both. And so he got a 5 in a game. The coach was fully aware that there was a penalty given and that his kid was thrown out. Apparently he thought it was a 2 and 10 or whatever.
Gotcha.
Not my problem. I had nothing to do with him because he was just spectator at that point.
Yep.
So second game, he's coaching. He had all time of the game to ask me a question. Didn't ask anything. Third game is starting, or is about to start. We're still in the second. We're still, rolling it. Third game is about to start, and he comes around, and he asks, "Can I ask you a quick question?" And I'm always open to questions. Everybody who knows me knows that.
Yep.
I have no problem. If you actually have a question, I'll be happy to try to answer it. If I can't answer it right there and then, I'll tell you, see me after the game and I'll talk to you, or see me during break.
Yep.
And it was such a calm game that I stopped briefly at the boards and, said, "Sure, what is it?" And he goes, my the player number, or whatever it was, is he okay for the next game? I said, "No." I said, "You got a 5 in game." And he goes, "Well, that's my son." I said, "I'm sorry, but that's." And he started rambling up so many cuss words. I thought I was in a sailor bar, and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and there were kids sitting right there.
Yeah.
So I threw him out. I pointed out. I said, "Leave now." He wouldn't leave. Now the kids that were playing that last game were all local kids. That was actually
Gotcha.
local against local. It was like gold level or silver level, Bantam. And no, sorry, the third game was not a Bantam game. It was a Pee-wee game. It was a Pee-wee U12 game. And I got to the point, because he was still screaming and hollering as he was walking around, that I actually had to use my mad voice.
Yeah.
Which, if you've heard, you have not heard my mad
I
voice
don't
yet.
think I ever have. Yep.
So I actually turned around towards him. I actually took my eyes away from the game for a quick second, turned around, looked straight at him, and I said, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to have you escorted out. Get out and shut up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to hear another word.
Yeah.
And the parents were actually at that point yelling at him too.
Yeah. Get out.
You know, and so everything on the ice stopped. I hadn't blown the whistle.
Okay.
I had not blown the whistle. Everything on the ice stopped.
Yeah, they were like, oh.
The kids had never heard me
Yeah.
at that level.
Yeah.
You know, so all the kids are looking right at me,
Ooh.
and I'm like, guys, you're all good.
Dad
not
voice.
you, not you.
Yeah,
Keep
not
playing.
you. Keep playing, guys. You're all good.
Yeah.
And I'm smiling
They
at
all
them. I'm
started
like, you're all
crying on
good.
the ice.
You know, but they were like, whoa. Not one coach complained that day. There was nothing
You
to
said
complain
for
about.
it,
But,
yeah.
but no, it was. I was actually at a point where I was like, I'm going to have to really do the mad guy, you know. And I feel bad for the kids, but it's going to have to come out. And so he left. He came back the next year and looked at me and walked right by me. And I refereed his game. And you know what? His kid behaved.
Right.
And so did he.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, cool, man. We so appreciate you being here.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
actually
appreciate it.
went. We went way over time. Yeah, I knew
Sorry.
we would.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Please, yeah. Sometimes they're just not quite as interesting. We could go another hour, I assure you.
Oh, yeah.
And people would be interested.
If we didn't have a game at 6.
You're right.
Bring it on, kiddo. Thank you. So here is your payment for
Oh, look at that. Awesome.
for being here.
Awesome.
We
Look
try
at
to
that.
provide all of our
I
guests.
do want. I have to show.
There you
Awesome,
go.
guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We want to make sure you get at least a memento.
Oh,
We
yeah.
appreciate you coming in. And
Now I do
spending
have
time
to
with
ask
us.
you guys to sign this. You know that, right?
Oh, man.
man.
I don't know how we'll pull that
You guys
off.
were all here. That includes the tech staff. Please make sure I get this signed.
All right. We'll
All
figure
right.
out some way to do that. Maybe a silver Sharpie or something.
Yep,
on the
that'd be
back.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I already have all the Sharpies, so good luck.
All right. Anyways.
That's going to be my memento with all the signatures. Put the date on it.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you being here.
Anytime.
We would love to have you back because there's so much we never even got a
Yeah,
chance to
no.
cover in the time.
Maybe
we
a
had.
time we don't have a game at 6.
Yeah, and suddenly we all feel rushed now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of commotion behind the camera because we're all like, "Uh-oh, there's a game that's supposed to be about a couple of hours." So we apologize if you overheard a little chitter chatter there, but hey, this thing is organic and it happens in my basement, so things will happen
A lot of
along
things
the way.
happen in his
Yeah, a lot of
Oh,
things
yeah.
happen. Yes.
Always happy to come back, guys.
Yeah,
Seriously.
appreciate you.
Always
Thank you
happy
very
to come
much.
back.
With that, I guess we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See
Thanks for
y'all.
watching, guys.
Get to your
Appreciate
game
you.
early.